Before we dive into today's episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to stay updated with our latest insights.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CTSS Academy podcast. The energy is electric. The crowd is alive. Let's dive into greatness. We're champions strong.
Before we start the show, don't forget to check our new ebook, Kill All Bugs, Learn Software Testing in One Day. For a limited time, it's only $9.99. Links in description.
I want to start this deep dive by taking you back, way back to the 90s. If you were a kid then, you almost certainly remember this feeling.
And I know exactly where you're going with this.
Right. You're sitting on the carpet, you've got that big, clunky landline phone receiver wedged between your ear and your shoulder.
Yep. The cord is all tangled.
Totally. And you're just waiting for the host on TV to yell, start, and then you're just mashing the keypad, 3 to jump, 6 to go right, watching this little troll, Hugo, run across the screen.
It felt like total magic. I mean, you were controlling a character on live television with a telephone. A telephone. It was just this simple, amazing thing.
It felt so simple. But that's the thing. When we started digging into the sources on Hugo, we realized that the magic was anything but simple.
Not even close. We're talking about a genuine, pioneering piece of real-time engineering. It was actually one of the most complicated and, frankly, expensive experiments in interactive TV history.
Exactly. We see those, blocky 2D graphics today, and we just assume the tech behind it was probably pretty basic.
And that assumption is just completely wrong.
Yeah.
The sources make it so clear. The whole operation was built around this custom proprietary system.
Mm-hmm.
Danish engineers built it from scratch to solve this one very specific problem.
How do you merge old school phone lines with live digital animation?
Precisely.
And get this, because this is the number that just grounds the whole thing in reality. That central system, the absolute heart of the game, was a beast. It cost around $75,000.
Is 90s money.
In 90s money. I mean, think about that. 75 grand. That's a small house. That's a couple of luxury cars back then. All of that, just so a kid could press 5 on their phone and see a pixel move.
But that price tag tells you everything. It shows you the size of the mountain they were trying to climb. This wasn't some, clever trick with a VCR. It was a massive investment to prove a concept that no one had ever really done at scale before.
So for today's deep dive, that's our mission. We're going to unpack that $75,000 monster. We want to understand how a press on an analog phone keypad became an instant digital command and what that all means for the tech you use every single day.
Let's start with the brain of the operation.
Okay, so where did that money go? What was this thing?
So the system was called the ITE 3000. And it sounds kind of industrial because, well, it was. This wasn't a home computer. Our sources show it was built on a dual-core approach.
What do you mean dual core?
They used 2 high-end Amiga 3000 computers linked together, working in perfect sync.
Two Amigas. That seems like overkill for a game where a troll just runs left and right. Why 2?
Because of the processing load. A single computer back then just couldn't do it all without, lagging horribly. You couldn't render graphics at high speed and process hundreds of incoming phone signals at the very same time. The CPU would just choke.
So they had to split the work.
Divide and conquer. Exactly. One Amiga 3000 was dedicated entirely to the visuals. Running the game, the animations, the logic like, did Hugo just hit that log? All the stuff you saw on screen.
Okay, that was the graphics machine. So the second one was the silent partner.
The second Amiga was the gatekeeper. It handled all the audio, sure, like a MIDI sampler. But its main job, its critical function, was managing the phone calls. It had these specialized cards inside just to listen to all those incoming lines and figure out what they were saying.
It was the traffic controller for the phone signals.
The only way they could get the real-time responsiveness they needed for a live show was to split the tasks. It wasn't because the game looked amazing, it was because the signal processing was so incredibly demanding.
That puts the 75 grand in perspective. It wasn't for fancy graphics, it was for the custom hardware needed to make the whole crazy conversion engine work without, crashing on live TV.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so let's follow that signal. The whole point was telephone and control from the phone. I press 6 on my keypad at home. How does that turn into an instruction?
Right. This is where we get into the core tech, which is DTMF, dual-tone multi-frequency.
DTMF. Okay.
When you press a key, say the number 6, you're not actually sending a digital 6 for it. You're sending a sound, specifically 2 different audio frequencies at the same time. That little boop sound you hear?
Yeah.
That's the sound of those 2 frequencies combined. It's a unique audio signature for that specific number.
So it's an analog sound wave, not like a piece of code.
Exactly. And this is where we solve the big mystery of why this game was so hard for so many people.
Right.
Let's trace the signal's journey.
Okay, do it.
Step 1. You press the key, you generate that DTMF sound. Step 2. That sound has to travel over the city's copper phone lines. And you have to remember, these lines were old, they were noisy, there was interference. The sound could be traveling for miles to get to the TV studio.
Just a little sound wave floating across the city.
Right. And then, step 3, it finally arrives at the studio where that second Amiga 3000 is waiting. And its job is to instantly grab that sound, filter out all the noise from the line, and convert that analog frequency into a clean digital command, like move right, all in a few milliseconds.
Okay, so what does this mean for me, the 9-year-old, who kept making Hugo fall into a pit and was convinced I was just terrible at video games?
This is the big aha moment about the input lag. Everyone complained about it.
Oh, yeah.
That delay, that feeling that Hugo jumped a half second too late, it wasn't really the Amiga being slow. It was physics. It was the time it took for that sound to travel all the way from your house to the studio.
The ping time.
The ping time. You were literally losing a fight against distance and the quality of the copper wires. The time it took to travel the line, get filtered, get converted, it could all add up to hundreds of milliseconds.
That changes everything. So I wasn't just bad at the game.
You were battling the physical limits of 1990s telecommunications.
Yeah, I feel so vindicated right now. Okay, so that's the control side. But our sources say the even bigger technical challenge, maybe the real reason for the cost, wasn't the control. It was the character's life.
That's the real leap, I think. Because if it was just a clunky, delayed puppet, the show would have failed. The genius was in giving Hugo a personality.
Right, he would talk to the host, he'd say the winner's name, he'd look happy or sad.
And that couldn't be a bunch of pre-recorded clips. It had to be live.
Which brings us to the AMS, the animation mask system.
Correct. This was another proprietary system from the ITE engineers. You can think of it as like the great-grandfather of modern motion capture that you see in movies today, but built for a live broadcast.
So there's an actor somewhere in a back room. What's going on in there?
The actor providing Hugo's voice is sitting in a hidden studio, and they're wearing this specialized helmet. That helmet is the key to the whole system.
What's on the helmet?
Sensors. Lots of sensors. The most important ones were focused on the actor's face. They were tracking every little micro-movement, eyebrows raising, lips moving to form words, blinking, frowning.
So if the actor in the booth turns his head slightly and smirks?
The Hugo on the screen does the exact same thing instantly.
Wow.
That was the marvel. Mapping complex, human facial expressions onto a digital character in real time, live on TV. The sensor data was just constantly streaming to the Amiga, which was manipulating the Hugo model on the fly.
That's what gave him a soul. He wasn't just a puppet you move left and right.
He was a presence. Now, to be clear, the sources point out that the main body movements, like the running and jumping, those were pre-rendered animations triggered by your button presses. But the face, the expressions, the lip sync, the emotional stuff, that was all being generated live by the actor through the AMS. And the two systems worked together so seamlessly you never noticed the difference.
Which is why they needed 2 Amigas. One is busy decoding all our phone calls. The other is busy rendering a live motion-captured face and playing back-body animations. It's a huge technical juggling act.
A tremendous feat. But of course, the tech didn't stop there.
How did it evolve from that initial setup?
Well, from about 1990 to 1995, we had the 2D sprite graphics we all remember. But around 96, they did a massive hardware upgrade.
This is when Silicon Graphics gets involved, right? The SGI Onyx systems.
That's the one. And for anyone who knows 90s graphics, that name is legendary. This is the hardware that powered movies like Jurassic Park.
Whoa.
So using the Onyx, Hugo was no longer a flat 2D sprite. He became a full 3D polygon model, living in a 3D world.
That's a huge jump in complexity. Now the system is rendering a 3D world, doing motion capture, and processing phone calls.
And they kept pushing it. By the mid-2000s, especially for some of the versions in Asia, they were using full-body motion capture. The actor wasn't just a voice and a face anymore. They were the full digital avatar.
So when you step back and look at it, Hugo wasn't just a kid's game show. It was a proof of concept. It proved you could turn an analog phone line into a digital controller and give a virtual character a real spirit, live on air.
And that's the real legacy. That's the so what of all this.
So where do we see the ghost of that $75,000 machine today?
Well, look at VTubers on platforms like Twitch.
Oh, good one. Yeah.
It's the exact same model, right? An unseen performer using sensors to map their voice, their reactions, their expressions onto a digital avatar for a live audience. That entire concept is a direct descendant of the AMS helmet and that Amiga 3000.
It's the same problem they solved 30 years ago, creating a believable, immediate digital presence controlled by a human.
And then there's cloud gaming, or even remote surgery. Any system that relies on super low latency controls over a long distance, they're all fighting the same fundamental battle that Hugo's engineers fought.
The battle against lag, against ping time.
Exactly. Minimizing the time it takes for your input to travel, get processed, and show a result. Whether it's a jump command over a copper wire or a controller input over a 5G network to a server farm, it's the same fight.
It all comes back to managing that processing load and creating believable, real-time feedback.
The fact that they made it work so reliably back then, it's just a testament to some really clever, dedicated engineering.
So to wrap this all up for you, the core achievement here wasn't just one thing. It was this incredible simultaneous management of two massive technical jobs on live television. First, the DTMF signal processing to let you play along, and second, the AMS real-time animation that made Hugo feel alive.
An unbelievable balancing act, really.
And as you think about the interactive worlds we all live in now, all these systems where your input instantly controls something far away or where a digital character is being driven by a hidden person, just consider this final thought. How many of those modern interfaces owe their existence to a $75,000 machine from the 90s that was built just to let you press 3 Hall on a landline phone? What other simple things that we use every day are hiding a foundation that is just as complex and just as expensive?
That's our deep dive. We'll see you on the next one.
Hey, yo! Haven't you checked out our new book yet? Link in description.
Thanks for listening. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. It helps more people find the show. See you in the next one.
CTMF.